Hello, I'm Maya Andreasen, and we are going to continue with our FKIK rig. We are going to start on creating some leg controls. Now, these leg controls, a lot of the banking controls are going to be made with locators. You can make these controls with curves, NURBS curves. I've done it before in some of my previous um, tutorials. So if you would like to do the banking controls with actual NURBS curves, that's totally fine. Do them in the way that you feel most comfortable. We will be creating them with locators right now. So we're going to start first with our leg controls with the IK joint chains. So we want to make sure to set in our center of gravity control, we want to make sure that our legs are set to IK mode. So make sure that they are set to IK mode. If they are on FK, set them to IK. Remember, it's over here in the channel box on the far right. And we are going to be using the LAT tool. So before we go into the LAT tool, let me go into the side view right now and just make another joint chain to show you what that tool is. Now I believe I need to load that tool. I had my rigging shelf, and let's see. Here is my rigging shelf. I've loaded it. So if you have a shelf and you've saved it, you can always reload it. So let's go into, let's just kind of show you what the LAT tool is all about. We are going to move this over. All right, so if I were to initially use the LAT tool, I have this top joint selected. After select LAT, you'll see that there is a locator here. And there's several things that you need to notice. Number one, the locator is named Loc Align Joint 01. That's because the joint, I never renamed it, so it's just joint 01. And so a prefix is added for Loc Align. It's also oriented to the joint. So there's several things that this particular script is doing. And if we go into the script, if we open it, go into the command, we can see what is happening here. So you find the selection, right? It gives you notes. For all objects in the selection, we're going to run the following commands. We're going to create a locator. The locator, align the locator to the first selection via a parent constraint. So we're going to parent constraint it to whatever object is, in this case, a joint. Then we're going to delete the locator, and it says find and delete the locator's parent constraint. Or not the locator, we're going to delete the parent constraint. And then, after we are finished deleting the parent constraint, we are going to have a very nice we're going to rename it. So here it says Loc Align. So if you wanted to change the script and have a different prefix, you would change it here. So maybe if you wanted Loc-Ori for locator oriented, because it has an orient constraint on it instead of parent constraint. This is where you would change that. Okay, so now that we've taken a look at it, and you will be able to find this script in Canvas. Okay, so you can download it there. Let's show you how to create it from scratch. Okay, so first you're going to create a locator. Now I'm going to add create locator to my shelf. So I go to create locator and voila, here's my locator. All right, so I have a locator. First thing I'm going to do is select my joint, and then I'm going to select my locator. I'm going to go to the rigging menu, constrain. Let's go to the options box for parent. I think it's all fine. It's reset. Actually, I think I want maintain offset off and hit apply. Yes, and indeed I do. So with maintain offset off, as you can see, the locator snaps to the joint, and you can see over here in the channels that it's got the orient or the parent constraint on the translate and rotate values. Now that script takes it a step further. It renames the locator. So it says Loc Align underscore whatever the joint's name is. In this case, it's joint 1. Okay. So now that you know the long steps on how to create this, we're going to go where you'll know what the the LAT tool is actually doing. So for the LAT tool, you just select the joint and hit LAT, and it does all those steps for you. It does the parent constraint step. It deletes the parent constraint. It then renames the locator for you in accordance with the actual name of the joint that it corresponds to. So that's what this tool does, and we're going to be using it an awful lot. If you do not have the tool, you will just have to go through those old steps, or you can create the Python script in the, or actually Mel script. It's a Mel script. You'll create it in the script editor. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is select both bind ankle joints. Now both of our bind ankles are invisible, so I'm going to hit H and make them visible. And so just so you'll see that I'm only selecting the bind ankle, let's open this up. I am selecting BNR ankle 01 and control selecting BNL ankle 01 in my channel, or my outliners rather. And so then I'm going to hit the LAT tool, and we see we have two locators. Now what I really want is Loc Align R ankle 01 and Loc Align L ankle 01. I don't need the BN right now, so I'm going to get rid of the BN, which stands for bind. And here we go. Okay, so we have these two guys, or these two locators. Now, if you want to make the locator smaller, you're going to select them. And we're going to go to our shapes node over here in channels. And you can make it smaller by making it 0.3 or 0.2 or whatever size you want to make it. All right, so next we're going to select, we're actually going to snap, or select both of the ankle joints again, rather, I'm sorry. So BNR ankle, BNL ankle, and we're going to press LAT again. So we're going to make these again. Now, you know, if you don't have that LAT tool, you could always duplicate the Loc Align R ankle 01 and Loc Align L ankle 01. Okay, so now that we have selected these, we are going to snap the locators to the ball joints. So press V as in Victor and don't let go to snap it to the ball joint. And we're going to do the same with this one. V as in Victor and snap them. And they need to be renamed. So this is going to be BNR foot 01 and BNL foot 01. Oops. Nice if I spelled foot correctly. Right. And once again, we can make this a lot smaller, right? So it's not so big. It's just going to do 0.3, not 0.03. Made them a little too small. All right, so now we want to create a toe pivot. So we're going to select the ball joints, and we are going to actually hit LAT again, but this time the ball joints are the JDRV joints. So in this case, you might have them named BNL ball 01, and that's fine. But this is what I'm going to select, and I'm going to hit the LAT tool. I'm going to make them again. And we're going to snap these locators to the toe joint. So we'll just snap away. Pressing V as in Victor to snap. V as in Victor, don't let go until you're done snapping. Change the size and change the name. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the JDRV. We don't need that. And we're just going to change foot to toe. And we're going to do that for both the left and the right hand sides. So we'll change foot to toe. There we go. All right, now we want to make sure the toe locators are even with the ground. So that means we want to make sure that they are even with the bottom of the character's foot. So I'm going to make my character visible. I'm going to go to my right side view and hit F to zoom in. And I'm actually going to lower it so that it is even with the bottom of the character shoe. So it's almost even, but not quite. Okay, so we just want to make sure it's even with the bottom of the character shoe. All right. Now next we need some locators for the heel. So in this case, let's make our character invisible again. You know, we could run the LAT tool. You can make the locators from scratch. It's fine. We will make our character visible again because we do need to line it up with the heel. But I'm going to select these bind ankle joints again, and I'm going to hit our LAT tool. Right, so we're going to do that one more time. Here we go. And we need to rename these. So this one is going to be Loc Align underscore R underscore heel 01. And then we'll do the same for the left hand side. So it's Loc Align underscore L underscore heel 01. All right, so now we need to snap these two guys. Okay, so here we go. We're going to press X. Actually, we're going to do these individually. So we're going to press X and get these behind the feet. I'm going to actually get rid of the rotation values for this. It doesn't need to be aligned like this. So I'm going to zero everything out, and I'm going to make them both a lot smaller. Let's do 0.4. Actually, let's do 0.3. 0.3 is good. All right, so both of these locators are now at the bottom of the heels, but they're not centered. So that is something that you are going to want. You're going to want these to be centered to the heel. So actually, let's rotate them again. Only this time we're going to make them 0.3. I don't want to get rid of all my rotation values. I think what I want to get rid of is rotate in the Z. Yeah. Okay. Now we're getting where we want to go. Sorry about that, guys. So we're going to move this in. Now, if you do want to zero out everything, that's fine. Yeah. We'll orient it. If you orient it this way, yeah, let's do it this way. You know, rigging it's a specific thing. It's you want to get it so that whatever whatever the direction that the controls are going makes sense, right? They make sense to how the character is going to move, right? So in this case, you know, we really do want the character's heel to move up and down in the same kind of angle as the foot. Right now I'm eyeballing it, which I really probably shouldn't do, but that's what I'm doing for right now. Okay, so it's in the back of the heels. This is our heel control. All right, so we need side locators, and those are going to be our banking locators, okay? So that our foot can actually go from move from side to side. So like you have a control or a locator here, you have a control or a locator here, a controller locator here, here. So the foot can rotate in, hopefully you can see my cursor, and it can rotate out the way an actual foot rotates. So to create those side locators, we're going to create a locator. We're just going to create it from scratch. Now I have it on my shelf, but you can go to Create Locator to create it from scratch. If you want to add it to the shelf, hit Control and Shift simultaneously while finding Create and then press on Locator. When you press on Locator, you should have Control and Shift also pressed down to be able to put it on your shelf. All right, so we've created a locator, and we're going to press V to snap it to the left bottom side of the foot. So that's right out here. So if I press V as in Victor, that snaps to joints, but it also snaps to vertices, okay, or points. And so we're going to go here, we're going to make it smaller. Let's make it 0.2. There we go. All right, so we're going to duplicate the locator. And that locator is going to be moved to the right side of this left foot. So we're just going to put it right here. So there it is. And we're going to rename both of these. So this guy right here on the outside is going to be called Loc Align _L _bank left 01. All right. And then this inside one is going to be called Loc Align _L _bank right 01. All right, there we go. So now that we have these two, what we want to do is we're going to press the MRT tool. So now if we wanted, we could create more banking controls. We could create a banking control here or here. That's fine. I'm not going to, but you could also we could also center these a little bit more. So if you want this to be a little bit more centered when it rotates, you're just going to press V, and you're going to put it more to the center of the character's foot. And we can do the same thing here, since we're actually only going to do 2 of these. Yeah, so it's just on the inside of the foot right here. So it's up to you. It's up to you where you want this to bank. Remember, this in a sense is a control. So it's going to bank from wherever you put it. I'm going to put them back here, and I'm going to mirror these. Now I have a tool on my shelf called the MRT tool that is going to allow me to press MRT, and these will be mirrored perfectly. But how would I do this from scratch? So if you don't have this tool, you're going to do the following. Control D to duplicate, actually, yes. Control G to group, then in scale X, -1. Okay, so now we've duplicated them, and now as you can see, they are now mirrored. Then we're going to ungroup them, so Shift P, get rid of the group, and that's how you basically mirror these. All right, that's basically how the MRT tool works. So anyway, and then you freeze transformations. So as you can see here, the transformations here are frozen. So the MRT tool also freezes transformations. It's part of the code. All right, so we need to rename these. So the inner locator, we are going to rename Loc Align _R _bank left 01. And the outside is Loc Align _R bank right 01. Okay, so now that we've done that, we should probably save. Saving is always good. So we're going to save this scene as, what are we going to save it as? We are going to save it as IK FK legs. Let's do 4A. There we are. And this will be control 401. Perfect. Okay, so this is now saved. If you haven't saved yet, you probably should take the time to do that. All right, so we're going to go back to the left-hand side. Let's make the model invisible. Okay, so we're going to select the left ankle locator. That's Loc Align L ankle 01. So here we go. All right, and then we're going to control select the Loc Align L foot 01. So here's L foot 01. And then we're going to press P to parent them. Now we're going to select Loc Align L foot 01 locator. So here it is, Loc Align L foot 01 locator, and we're going to run the LAT tool. And we're going to rename it. So this ginormous thing is going to be called Loc Ori underscore L underscore foot 01. Okay. All right, so let's go back to Loc Align L foot 01. Then we're going to control select Loc Ori L foot 01. We are going to press P to parent. Okay. Now for Loc Ori, let's make it smaller. It's kind of ginormous, so 0.3 is fine. All right. So now that we've done this, we have something that looks like this. All right. And for the Loc Ori, right, for the Loc Align L foot 01, you'll see that the control, because this is a control, it's now all zeroed out, which is what we wanted. All right, so with Loc Ori L foot 01, we're going to control select Loc Align L toe 01. Okay, and then we're going to hit P to parent. Then we're going to select Loc Align L toe 01, and we're going to run the LAT tool again, because we are going to, and we're going to name it Loc Ori underscore L underscore toe 01. So it's it's going to orient the toe. So with Loc Align L toe 01 selected, we're going to control select Loc Ori L toe and hit P to parent, and that should zero out the Loc Align L toe 01, which it has. You can also make this the Loc Ori, oopsie, why? Smaller. Okay, so now that we have done that, right, let's just take a look at everything. We are going to select Loc Ori L toe 01, which we have, and we are going to control select in our outliner Loc Align L heel 01. Okay, and we are going to press P to parent. Select Loc Align L heel 01, LAT tool, rename Loc Ori, sorry, rename this duplicate Loc Ori L heel 01. Just make sure there we go. And with Loc Align L heel 01 selected, we're going to control select Loc Ori L heel 01, which I have misspelled. There we go. So Loc Align L heel 01, Loc Ori, P to parent, zeroes out Loc Align L heel. All right, so next thing we're going to do is select Loc Ori L heel 01 and control select Loc Align L bank left 01. So Loc Align L bank left 01, and we're going to press P to parent. Then we're going to select Loc Align L bank left 01 and control select Loc Align L bank right 01. Press P to parent. Then we're going to select Loc Align L bank right 01 and run our LAT tool again, because we need to zero this control out. All right. With that selected, we're going to rename it Loc Ori underscore L bank right 01. Okay. Select Loc Align L bank right 01, control select Loc Ori L bank 01 and hit P to parent. So it zeroes everything out. Also probably want to make this a lot smaller because it's kind of ginormous. So now it's smaller. All right, so now we have something that should look like this. It should look like a bunch of steps, right? So, oops. Let's make this guy smaller too, 0.3. All right, there we go. So we need to do this whole same thing on the right hand side. So we're going to do that right now. I know it's a lot, but you know, repetition makes it so that we know what we're doing a little bit easier. So we're going to select the right ankle locator. Okay, Loc Align our ankle 01, and we're going to control select Loc Align our foot 01 and hit P to parent. Okay, then we're going to select Loc Align our foot 01 and do the LAT tool. Let's make it smaller, 0.3, and rename it Loc Ori. Our foot 01. Okay, so now we have the Loc Ori. So now we're going to select Loc Align our foot 01, control select Loc Ori our foot 01, P to parent. Okay, then we're going to select Loc Ori our foot 01, control select Loc Align our toe 01, P to parent. Select Loc Align our toe 01, hit the LAT tool. Let's go over here so we can see things. Make the local scale X, Y, and Z 0.3 just to make it smaller. I'm just doing this to make it smaller so I can see things a little bit easier. And then we're going to change this to Loc Ori our toe 01. So we're renaming it Loc Ori our toe 01. All right, so now we're going to select Loc Align our toe 01 and control select Loc Ori our toe 01 and hit P to parent. That zeroes everything out, as you can see. With Loc Ori our toe 01 selected, we're going to select our right heel locator and hit P to parent. We're going to select the heel locator, run the LAT tool, rename it Loc Ori our heel, and then we're going to select Loc Align our heel, control select Loc Ori, P to parent. We're almost done. We're going to select Loc Ori our heel 01, control select Loc Align our bank left 01, hit P to parent. Select Loc Align our bank left 01. I think I have it right. All right, yeah, so Loc Align our bank left 01, control select Loc Align our bank right 01, P to parent. Select Loc Align our bank right 01 and run the LAT tool. So we're going to do that, and we're going to name it Loc Ori our bank 01, and then select the Loc Align our bank right, Loc Ori bank right, P to parent. And should be all taken care of. Some of these are still rather big, so the ones that are big will just, I forgot to make 0.3 and 0.3. Just trying to make them smaller. All right, and as you can see, we have this nice pattern as well. Okay, so next we want to set some constraints to finish this up. So we're going to select our ankle locator, right? So that's Loc Align L ankle 01, right? And then we're going to select the IK handle, and we're going to do constrain point, edit reset settings, and add. So make sure you've reset the settings. Okay, And we're going to do the same on the right hand side. So we're going to select our ankle locator and the IK handle and constrain point. Okay. Now we're going to hide our Loc locators. So in order to do that, so let me save. And let's just see what this does too. All right, so this moves things, all right, which is great. Okay. So that point constraint allows us to move our rig. Okay. Okay, so, but we need to hide the Loc locators. Now here's the problem. If I were to select Loc our bank 01, and I was to go to visibility and hit 0, all of my locators would go away. So how can we make this invisible without changing the visibility over here? Well, let's go into our attribute editor. You can hit Control A, or you can just click the tab for attribute editor. It's also this little icon up here on the top right hand side. So it looks like a bunch of little boxes with lines coming out on the left hand side. So we're going to just uncheck under object display. So if object display, twirl it open and hit visibility, and then it will become invisible. Now unfortunately, unless you put in a mel script, you're going to have to do this one at a time. You can't just select all of them and make them invisible. Not with the attribute editor. That doesn't work. So we're just going to go in for all the Loc and make their visibility, uncheck their visibility. And we're going to do that for both sides. And there we go. And so now all of those seeming duplicates are no longer visible. All right, so let's go to Loc Align L foot 01. Here it is. And let's control select the bind L ankle 01. So right, that bind L ankle 01 is way up here. Where are we? Bind L ankle 01. Okay, so you want to control select here. So we're selecting, oops, selected the wrong thing. I want to select Loc Align L foot 01. Don't select the wrong one. Select Loc Align L foot 01 and then control select BN L ankle 01. Okay. Constrain orient with maintain offset off. So we're going to go into our options box. You can always reset the setting. Reset is default, and we're going to hit apply. We're going to do the same thing for the right hand side. So select Loc Align R foot 01 and then the bind R ankle and orient constraint with maintain offset off. Now we're going to go to Loc Align R toe 01. So let's go to Loc Align. Actually, let's start on the left hand side. Loc Align L toe 01. And we're going to go up here and select JDRB L foot 01. So basically the ball joint. So select the Loc Align L toe joint and then the ball joint. Or Loc Align L toe locator and then the ball joint and constrain orient. The other thing you can do is you can hit G, and that's always going to repeat the last command that you just did. So let's do that on the right hand side as well. So Loc Align R toe 01, and then we're going to select the ball joint, which is up in joints, and we are going to hit G. And you'll know it happened because you'll see over here in the transform attributes blue in all the rotate channels. That means there is an orient constraint on the rotate channels. It worked. All right, so let's see if this actually does what we needed to do. I'm going to select the heel and rotate it, and look at that. It is indeed rotating the our feet. And then if you see here, the bank is working as well, right? So it banks, which is great. So all of that is working. All right. So, and if you haven't already, hide the Loc Ori locator. So now I'm going to hit save. And that is it for part 3 of the IK FK rig. When we move on, we are going to make some more controls for the IK legs. Till next time, I'm Maya Andreasen. Bye-bye.